of faith.
This is the way. Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Tells me we're not from Memphis.
Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and as always, I'm joined by my partner in crime, the Watson to my Holmes, Devin. And today, we're here to break down and give our spoiler-free insights on Enola Holmes 2, which is now, of this recording, streaming on Netflix. And before we begin today's episode, we'd actually like to thank Netflix for sending us screeners to watch this early so that we can spill the tea for you guys. You know, tell you guys if it's worth your time to sit down, whether it be with your mother, your brother, or your significant other, and watch Enola Holmes 2. But before we begin today's episode altogether, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter at FilmOptix. That is Optix with an X, or you can email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. Devin, how's your day been, buddy? You been hanging in there? I feel like it's a very slow day, a very dreary day here.
Yeah, Tuesdays are always rough. There's just nothing redeeming about it.
Yeah, it's just one of those days that are kind of just there. But yeah, it was a pretty slow day for me as well. I'm kind of just, chugging along through the week, getting ready for Halloween. Did you figure out your costume yet? Are you going to be Sherlock Holmes, I hear?
Watson, Enola. You can be Enola.
I don't know. I think I'd rather be Watson if that's the case. But yeah, do you have a costume picked out yet or no?
I mean, I have some options. I got Master Chief back there. He's always hanging out. And then there's always Mario. Can throw that on. Maybe bring back Elf, Buddy the Elf.
Oh, I forgot about your Buddy the Elf costume. That's true.
Just the classics.
Yeah. So I have a bit of a conundrum. I got tickets to a free hockey game on Saturday night, but I also have a Halloween party to go to. I got to dress as Dustin, my man from Stranger Things. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to do because the tickets were free it's a Predators game here in town. And I was like, well, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Unfortunately, they start around the same time. So I got to choose way beforehand. So that is my conundrum of the week. But overall, very excited to, get back into, the spooky season vibe. Just been watching as much horror stuff as I can. I still got 2 more Flanagan movies to get through. And then I might just do a little Fear Street 1666 cool down. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see there. But as we mentioned before, today we're giving our spoiler-free thoughts on Enola Holmes 2. Again, that is now streaming on Netflix. The way this is going to go, like I said, just spoiler-free thoughts. We're going to get to our initial reactions, our final thoughts, and then our ratings. And then we're just going to close on out. This is going to be a super short episode because we are a little pressed for time today, but that is okay. We're still going to give you guys the tea to the best of our abilities. So Devin, are you ready to crack this case? We got to hit up Enola, Mycroft, all the siblings, the Holmes
Euphoria.
siblings.
Didn't know her name was Euphoria, the mom.
Yeah, Euphoria. Dukes, yeah. Maybe a little bit of Watson. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. We haven't seen him yet, so I miss him dearly. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this introduction to Enola Holmes 2.
Dare I ask?
I'm looking for a girl. She worked at the match factory. Enola Holmes.
She's a detective. Looks like she'd blow over in the wind.
She discovered something that powerful people want to hide, and it's deadly. Sherlock, why are you here? Is it my case or your own?
Both. Seems our cases are connected.
The game has found its feet again.
Extortion, blackmail, corruption. I fear she's tangled with the wrong people.
Posh girls like you don't belong in this fight.
Posh or not, one thing I am good at is fighting.
She likes causing trouble, doesn't she?
Don't be so desperate to prove yourself, Enola.
And we are back. You just heard a little snippet of the trailer for Enola Holmes 2. Again, that is now streaming on Netflix. And the director is Harry Bradbeer. I like that. I like that last name, Bradbeer. It feels very manly. And is written by Jack Thorne and Harry Bradbeer. And this is based upon the Enola Holmes Mystery book series, which Nancy Springer was the author of. And the story is as follows for Enola Holmes 2. Now a detective for hire, Enola Holmes. I can't do it in like a straight face. Now a detective for hire, Enola Holmes takes her first official case to find a missing girl as the sparks of a dangerous conspiracy ignite a mystery that requires the help of friends and Sherlock himself to unravel. And of course, the cast includes Millie Bobby Brown, Henry Cavill, and Helena Bonham Carter. You may know her from Harry Potter. Actually, we have a few Harry Potter actors in this movie, and we'll get to that here in a bit. So I'm going to pass it over to Devin so he can give his initial reactions for Enola Holmes 2. Then I'll give mine, and then we'll kind of just coast from there. So Devin, what did you think about this movie?
Yeah, honestly, I don't remember too much about the original one. I just remember, obviously, Enola Holmes being Millie Bobby Brown, kind of her second breakout role on Netflix. Can't really say it's a breakout, but she was producing as well. I do remember that. And then obviously Henry Cavill as Sherlock Holmes, probably the largest Sherlock Holmes ever, just like the beefiest. I imagine it's usually a more slender character.
He's such a big guy. Like that's just the way he is. And it's like, man, you see Sherlock, it's like, now that is a big Sherlock.
Just a Sherlock that can just pick you up and take you right to jail, just right over his shoulder, just manly, beefy shoulders. But yeah, I remember being kind of iffy, like 50-50 on the first one, just kind of enjoying it for what it was, but not being too grabbed by it. And I feel pretty similar to this one. Like if you enjoyed the first one, you're more than likely will enjoy the second one. It's kind of more of the same ideas and concepts. Obviously you get a lot of good acting with Millie and Henry Cavill and the rest of the cast as well. You get an interesting new villain. I don't remember his name in the actual movie, but it's David Thewlis is the actor. And he was just in Sandman, in that amazing diner episode.
So yeah, that is actually the second Harry Potter cast member who played Professor Lupin as well. So yeah, it was nice to see him again in this role. It's been a big year for him in Netflix. But for my initial reactions altogether, we did cover the first Enola Holmes here on the show, and I'll put a link in the episode notes below for everyone to listen to our first review of the first one, because it came out, I think the first Enola Holmes dropped like 2 years ago. So it's been a while, and unfortunately I didn't have the time to watch the first one and then go watch the second one. But overall, I think it is a worthy successor to its predecessor. Like Devin said, if you like the first one, you're definitely going to like the second Enola Holmes case. It's fun. It's new. You know, it's not the best movie on Netflix because I feel like it is a little lengthy for sure. Like Devin and I actually just both mentioned before we started recording that, you know, we actually had to watch this movie in chunks because I got about halfway through, then I had to go do some things. I'm kind of glad that I did because it took me the story takes a little bit of time to get moving, but I get it, you know, like it's a whodunit type of movie. But, you know, Millie Bobby Brown is always bringing her A game alongside with Henry Cavill and the rest of the cast. Honestly, I really did enjoy everybody's performances. It is that clever whodunit adventure with historical ties. And there's always like that one movie like every single year that just screams like fall is here. For some reason, that movie is Enola Holmes 2 for me. Like it just fits the bill. It's like, hey, welcome to November. It just has that fall vibe to it. I don't know why. The story doesn't necessarily take place during the fall time, but it just has that aesthetic. I don't know. Call me crazy, but that's what I was feeling. But overall, yeah, I really did enjoy this one. Like I said, it was just a little bit too lengthy, but I think the payoff was very interesting because there are a lot of historical ties when it comes to this movie, especially with Match Girls. If you know what the Match Girls strike is, that is basically, it plays a really big part.
I actually didn't know that was a real historical context there.
Yeah, and I kind of looked into it beforehand, and it kind of just intrigued me there a little bit. But yeah, I think that it's a very nice premise of, they're using like real world historical cases or events and kind of, integrating that into these stories. But honestly, I mean, it's a fine movie. It's not a bad movie. Like we said, Netflix has a lot of shovelware on their on their service. And I think Enola Holmes 2 is definitely one that kind of outshines. I mean, it's Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill. Like it's a really great match and it's a really great time. I had a fun time watching it, and that's all I really needed. I wasn't really looking for something meaningful. There's a lot of clever takes when it comes to the plot of this movie. I don't want to give anything away specifically, but it does follow a little bit of the story. But I would recommend watching Enola Holmes 1 if you haven't, or at least maybe watching like a recap before going into 2. Like I said, it is a bit lengthier, unfortunately, but overall, I had a fine time with it and it did what it needed to do for me. But Devin, I'll pass it back over to you. Did you have anything else you wanted to add into our spoiler-free section that you haven't had a chance to speak about already?
Not something I usually comment on, but I kind of like the soundtrack in this one. I kind of like the vibe it set up throughout the movie. Just kind of whimsical and mysterious when it needed to be. But yeah, it's not usually something I notice, but this one got into my ears and just planted that seed. Other than that, there is a mid-credit scene of sorts. We won't discuss what it is, but it does set up more in the future. So if enough people watch this and enjoy it, then I'm pretty sure Henry Cavill might be a little busy now. I don't know if he can fit this one in after what he's got going on now.
He's got a world to save.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on.
Yeah, well, you can really tell that he is enjoying playing Holmes as a character. It may be a more satirical, dark comedy version of him, but I mean, I really enjoy Millie and Henry's their chemistry together. It feels like it was just always there. It never really left from the first film, and they essentially have to end up working together during certain points because they are working on their own cases, but they love to help each other out as siblings usually do.
Yeah, it was more Sherlock than I was expecting. I don't remember if it was more or less than the first one.
Yeah, and I think that is an issue. We would actually have to go back and watch the first one because it feels like it's been forever. And, we saw this was coming out. And we're like, oh, wow, like they're doing a second one. But yes, as Devin said, there is a mid-credit scene that everyone needs to watch. Just don't turn it off as soon as the credits rolling because you will be rewarded. That's all I have to say. But if they make a third one, I'd watch it. I don't even care. It's just something fun to watch. I love mystery films, mystery novels and what have you. And it reminded me of, like, I guess you can say, like, Knives Out light in a way. It's like a appetizer, if for Glass Onion. There you go. Enola Holmes 2 is an appetizer for Glass Onion, which is also going to be on Netflix. So
it's kind of like the kids' table to the Thanksgiving table. When you have Thanksgiving, the You got the main table with all the adults, and then the kids table over there, just having fun.
Look at us creating these amazing analogies for our listeners.
And Glass Onion comes out on Thanksgiving. We're right around it.
Yeah, you can watch Knives Out, and then you can, get your kiddie meal in with Enola Holmes 1 and or 2 or both, and you move over to Glass Onion. So I think this is definitely it's just a fun movie. Overall, like I said, it's one of Netflix's better produced movies. It doesn't feel like it's just a run of the mill type of, story. Like they put time into this, and this was something we didn't really know that was going to be on the platform. But yeah, let's actually just kind of close out here and get into our ratings. So Devin, what would you give Enola Holmes 2, or what would you rate Enola Holmes 2? I guess that would be the more professional way to say it.
Yeah, I really wish I remembered anything about the first one to go back and just kind of in my brain just be like, I can compare it to that and then see what I liked and didn't like. But I don't know, I'd probably get like a 65. Like overall, had its moments, had obviously the good actors and the good performances and all that, but it definitely did drag, and it was a bit hard to get through at times. Splitting it into 2 did help.
So for me, I was actually like really into it, and then I forgot that I was supposed to go to my friend's house to watch the Steelers game. So I had to pause it, but I'm glad that I did, because I didn't want to watch it all in one sitting. And like, it gave me a second to kind of, marinate over what I've watched already and then get back into it. But when I was watching it, I was just into it. There's a nice little love connection that happens in this movie as well. But for me, when it comes to my ratings and final thoughts as well, I would actually just give this like a solid, just like 75. Like, I think it's a great movie to just, turn on if you're looking for something fun and new to watch during the month of November. Get yourself ready for Glass Onion. Like we said before, it is a nice appetizer for the mystery films that are to come. And I do believe that it is a little too long, but I feel like it was worth it, especially for that post-credit scene. I was shocked. I wasn't like blown away, but I was like, oh, like that's really cool, because it does further the relationship between Enola and Holmes, or Enola and Sherlock, I should say, because I do remember in the first movie, they didn't necessarily see all eye to eye, but with this one, Enola has her own agency, and she's trying to do her own thing. She doesn't want to live in her brother's shadow, but there are character developments that do happen between the first and second Enola Holmes movies. So I do commend them for that. So yeah. So Devin says 65. I'm sorry.
65.
65 from Devin, 75 from me. So with all that said, that concludes our spoiler-free review of Enola Holmes. So if you've liked what you heard here on the podcast today, subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform of choice, and make sure to share an episode of our podcast with a friend, whether it be your mother, your brother, or your significant other. Make sure to share an episode of the Film Optix podcast with a movie lover in need. And really quick, what is coming up / what is out now that you can listen to on the podcast. By the time this is out, you can actually go listen to our House of the Dragon finale, which we talked about for a good hour with the amazing Tessa from Mama's Geeky. So definitely give that a listen. That is a spoiler episode for everyone to kind of just dive in. If you haven't watched the episode yet, go watch it and then go listen to our review. As well, we have our Black Adam review that is out for people to listen to. And if you're in the, we're still in a little bit of spooky season, we're winding down here, go watch The Midnight Club, which is also on Netflix. And then you can actually listen to our spoiler-free review about The Midnight Club, that it's available on all podcast platforms out there. So that's actually pretty awesome. And also, what is on deck? We have a lot of stuff. Of course, The Glass Onion. It's going to be coming out within the next few weeks, as well as Black Panther. We may or may not be covering either, The Devil Inside? I Pray for the Devil, either that or Causeway, which is a new A24 film that is coming to Apple Plus, or Apple TV Plus, I should say. So
Getting more expensive nowadays.
I know it moved up to like what, $6 or $7 or something like that.
Yeah, $6.99.
It's $4.99 and $6.99. The audacity of Apple. I was like, well, the economy is just going to crash now. But no, I knew it was not going to stay.
Zaz Labs behind it somehow.
He probably is. He probably is. But again, thank you to Netflix for sending us these screeners so that we can get our review out there to the people. And with all that said, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you guys next time. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for listening. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay in the know. That was Devin. My name is Christian, and we'll see you guys in the next one.